Imagine walking deep into the forest where everything seems calm until you see a bear holding a child. No one believes what you saw. They think you're losing your mind. But what if the truth is even stranger? Stay with us. This story is just getting started. This is the story of a man named Usher, a forest ranger who had lived most of his life deep in the woods. The forest wasn't just a place to him. It was home. It gave him peace, quiet, and a sense of belonging. His parents had moved near the forest when he was just 1 year old, wanting a calm life away from the noise of the city. Usher grew up surrounded by trees, animals, and fresh air. As he got older, he followed his dream and became a forest ranger. His days were calm and simple. Nothing big ever happened. But that peace was about to break. Something strange was coming. Something that would change everything Usher thought he knew about the forest. One cool morning, Usher set out for his usual patrol through the quiet forest. The trees swayed gently in the breeze, and everything seemed normal. But this week had been different. There were reports of a dangerous predator nearby, and all the forest rangers were on high alert. Still, Usher didn't believe it. He thought the warnings were just a trick from the higher-ups to make the rangers work harder. Usher knew he always did his job honestly, so he didn't take the alerts too seriously. As he walked deeper into the woods, something caught his eye. A shape moved far off in the distance. He froze, every muscle tense. The higher officers had warned them about a black bear, and whatever this was, it looked just like one. Quietly, carefully, he stepped closer to get a better look. Then, his heart nearly stopped. In the middle of a small clearing stood the black bear, holding a child in its arms. Usher's legs felt weak. He had never seen anything like this before. A bear, carrying a child? His heart was pounding, and his breath felt stuck in his chest. His mind raced with questions. Was the child okay? Why wasn't the bear attacking? Was this really happening? He blinked hard, thinking maybe his eyes were fooling him. But no. The bear was real. The child was real. And they were standing right there in front of him. Usher knew he had to do something. But he had to be careful. One wrong move could scare the bear or put the child in danger. Slowly he crouched and began to move closer, step by step. Just then, the bear gently placed the child on the ground. Usher's heart jumped. This might be his only chance to help. But before he could act, the bear turned around. For a moment it stood still, staring straight at him. Usher didn't move. The forest went completely silent. It was just him and the bear, locked in a quiet, tense moment. Then, the bear made its choice. It picked up the child again and quickly disappeared into the trees. Usher stood frozen, shocked and unsure what to do next. Usher instantly jumped to his feet and ran after the bear, his heart pounding in his chest. But the bear was too fast. It disappeared into the thick forest within seconds. Usher stopped, gasping for breath. He knew chasing a wild animal through the woods was dangerous and almost impossible. Still, he couldn't shake the image of the child in the bear's arms. He quickly grabbed his radio and called for help. His voice shook as he explained everything he had seen. But to his surprise, no one believed him. "Maybe you imagined it," one ranger said. "You need some rest," another added. "You've been through a lot, Usher." His chest tightened. He knew why they didn't believe him. Not long ago, he and his wife had lost their baby in a painful miscarriage. Everyone thought he was seeing things, lost in grief. But Usher was sure of what he saw. That child was real and needed saving. When the rangers brushed him off, Usher called the police. At first, the officers listened, but then Usher's boss pulled them aside and whispered something. After that, everything changed. The officers didn't say a word to him. They walked into the forest without him, like he didn't exist. Moments later, more officers arrived. But they didn't come to help. They looked upset, and their eyes were full of doubt. One of them told Usher to sit down and be quiet. He didn't understand what was happening. All he had done was report what he saw: a bear carrying a child. Why wasn't anyone listening? Confused and frustrated, Usher begged for answers. "What's going on?" he asked. But his boss didn't say much. He only told Usher that he would be questioned later. Then came the shock. Usher was told he was suspended from his job as a forest ranger. His boss said he wasn't well enough to work. Maybe he needed therapy. That losing his baby had affected his mind. Usher's heart sank. They all thought he had made the whole thing up. But he knew the truth. He had seen that child. And no matter what anyone said, he wasn't going to let the child disappear. The next morning, before the sun even rose, Usher made a choice. He would go into the forest alone, even if it meant breaking the rules. His wife begged him not to go, but she knew he wouldn't stop. Before leaving, Usher went to see his best friend, Orrin, another ranger. Orrin was surprised and worried. He had heard about the suspension. At first, he didn't believe Usher's story, but when he saw the pain in Usher's eyes, he changed his mind. He agreed to help. So the two of them walked into the forest together. Orrin knew he was taking a big risk. If anyone found out he was helping Usher, he could lose his job too. But he couldn't let his best friend go alone. As they moved deeper into the woods, Usher told Orrin everything again, about the bear, the child, and how no one believed him. Orrin still wasn't sure. The story sounded too strange, but he wanted to be there for Usher. Then something unexpected happened. Orrin saw large tracks on the ground, bear tracks, fresh ones. He bent down to check them and looked back at Usher. "Okay," he said quietly. "I was wrong. There is a bear." But he still didn't know what to think about the child. Just then, a low growl came from the trees. Both men froze. Usher stepped toward the sound, but Orrin stopped him. "Let's call for help," he whispered. "No," Usher said. "They left me when I needed them. I have to do this." They moved forward and saw a dark cave between some rocks. Usher pointed. "That's it." The cave was cold and quiet inside. Then they heard a soft cry, a child. Before they could react, the bear stepped out of the shadows. Orrin panicked, and the bear charged. Usher screamed for Orrin to run. Orrin didn't waste a second. He turned and sprinted, but tripped over a root and fell. Panic kicked in as he scrambled to his feet and climbed the nearest tree. The bear charged at him, growling and clawed at the trunk, but it couldn't reach him. Orrin held his breath, clinging to the branches, hoping it would go away. Usher saw his chance and ran into the cave. Inside, it was cold and pitch dark. He pulled out his phone and turned on the flashlight. The narrow tunnel felt endless as he moved carefully, one step at a time. Then, he stopped. His eyes filled with tears. There, curled up in the shadows, was a small child. The boy blinked at the light, silent and scared. Usher rushed to him. The child was alive, and somehow unharmed. Gently, Usher picked him up and held him close. He turned to leave, but then he heard heavy footsteps. The bear was coming back. The child began to cry. Usher tried to hush him, rocking him gently, but it was too late. The bear saw them. It stepped out of the darkness, growling, eyes locked on Usher. Usher held the child tighter, ready to protect him. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the cave. The bear groaned and staggered. A dart had hit its side. Then another. More people rushed into the cave. Orrin had called for help after escaping. The rangers had arrived just in time. The child was rushed to the hospital. Doctors checked him from head to toe. He was okay. Cold, hungry, but safe. Usher never left his side. He didn't eat or sleep. He just sat there, watching over the boy. Later, the police arrived with news. They had found a wrecked car deep in the forest. The boy's parents had died in a crash days earlier. No one had seen it happen. Somehow the bear had found the child, taken him, and kept him alive. No family came forward. The child had no one. Usher and his wife held hands. They looked at the boy and knew what they had to do. They adopted him. A year later, they stood outside their home as a family. The boy smiled in their arms, safe, loved, and no longer alone. And Usher? He never gave up. Because he believed what he saw and followed his heart.